we'll be making a little loop in a dubstep style that sounds like this. The first thing we'll do is set our BPM. So dubstep tunes are usually somewhere around 140. Let's go for 145. There we go. And then I think the first thing we'll start with is making a beat. So let's go get some drums. I quite like this 505 classic kit, so we'll use that. Drag it in here onto this MIDI channel, and it loads up. Let's switch over to the session view and make a little MIDI clip. To do that, we can just double click here. It creates a 1-bar loop, and we will put our kick drum down here on the 1. Double click in there, and we'll put our snare here on the 3. That sounds like this. Oh, that's not a snare, that's a clap. So there we go. And then if we go and hit duplicate here on the left, and boom, now we have a 2-bar loop. We'll move our loop brace over here so that we can loop it later on. And now we're going to zoom on out so we can see everything we're doing, and we'll duplicate it one more time. So now we have a 4-bar loop with our kicks and our snares. We'll drag out this clip so it's showing the whole 4-bar loop. Now we're going to add in some more kicks. So let's go boom ka, and maybe boom boom ka, boom ka, boom boom ka, boom, like this. Turn on loop. Though maybe that sounds a little too like a rock and roll beat or something, so maybe let's try moving this kick forward a little bit. Let's try that. Yeah, that sounds better. And now let's put in some hi-hats. Let's try, if we put this sound, if we click this little headphone button, we can hear, we can preview the sounds. So I like this one, and let's put it on every beat. And if we highlight those and hit Command D, it will copy them, put it in the slightly wrong spot. And if we select them, another way to copy is to select them all and press Option, and then pull them over and keep Option held down, and it will copy them. And let's try add in a little more variation. Let's add another hi-hat here at the end of the first bar, and then maybe again at the end of the 3rd bar, and then on the 4th bar let's add a little trill, you could say. I think that will do for now. So next up, let's get some chords. We will go over into sounds and piano. You can pick whatever you want, but I quite like this electric piano, E-piano cheap. So let's pull that in to this next MIDI channel, and we'll double click in here to make our 1 bar loop. And then we're going to make this song the key of A minor, which is basically all the white notes on a piano, so that makes it kind of easier, right? So here's A. So we're going to put this on the offbeat because we're going for the sort of dub style. There we go, A. So put one there, then we'll skip a white note, put another one, skip a white note, and put another one. And then we'll take this, press Option, hold down Option, pull it over here to copy. We'll duplicate that twice. So there we go. We pull out the clip so it shows it all. Let's have a listen. Okay, so that's a good start, though it's a little repetitive, so let's see about making it do something a little bit different. Maybe we'll stay on this A minor here, and then for the last two chords, maybe we'll go up. We could try the B. Let's see. So we're just selecting that chord, pulling it up, and we're still going every other white note. So this F sharp is wrong. That should be down there. Let's see how that sounds. We'll play from halfway. I think that sounds quite nice. I think that'll do for now. It's nice and simple, but that's okay. So we want ourselves a bass sound. So let's go and get the wavetable synthesizer. Let's pull that in down here because we can't put it on these two because these are audio tracks, right? So we'll put it down here instead. And let's move that up here, expand it so we can see where we're going. And double click to make a little MIDI clip. Now let us scroll down to get down into the bass range. Down to A. So we'll start with the sound, then we'll make it better in a minute. So let's go and put an A just on every beat. And we're going to duplicate that once and twice. Extend the clip. Boom, boom. And then so we know that we're at A in the beginning, and then for the last bar, it goes up to the B. So we'll move them up there. So something like that. I think we'll select all the notes and pull them out so they're twice as long. And then maybe to make this pattern a little more interesting, let's at the end of each measure we'll make a sort of double note at that point. Let's have a listen to that. That's starting to sound alright, but maybe we need a couple other notes to make it a little more interesting. Let's try going up here to the C at this phrase before there, and we'll go up to the E over here, and then before we go to the B, let's try going to the C. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, I think that's a good start. So let's go and shape the sound. So we'll click down here on Wavetable, leave the MIDI editing, go into the sound design for this little synth. So If you don't know anything about sound design, maybe this is a little intimidating looking, but basically it's actually quite simple. This here is the oscillator, which is the carrier, they say, so this is making the noise, and then here is the envelope, which is shaping how the noise happens, basically, and then in the middle here is a filter, which shapes the noise. So let's change the wave shape of the noise that we're making. So at the moment it's on sine wave, which is the most bassy type of wave you can have, but as you can hear, you can't really hear it very well unless this is getting played through big speakers. So see, as we move up here towards the triangle and square waves, it starts being much more obvious to hear it. So I think somewhere around here might be good. So then over here in the envelope, which is the envelope of the amp, right? So that means it's the envelope that affects the level, the sound of this sound that we're making. So let's pull up the sustain. So the sustain is the note that it sustains at maximum velocity. That's the level it gets to and stays at. So we want that to be up there. See about decreasing the attack, which is the parameter that affects how long it takes to get to full volume. See, if I make it longer, you can hear it, but let's just make it happen immediately. So I quite like that. So I think this is moving in the right direction, but this bass is still lacking a bit of energy. So one thing you can do to make basses more fat and more audible in the higher frequencies is to add some saturation or distortion to them. So let's go into audio effects and go get the saturator. So you see how it's already making it quite a lot more audible. So give me a little more drive. It's very over the top. But it's good to kind of sometimes drive a little hard, and then you can back the dry wet off, which the dry wet is how much of this effect is being added to our sound. At the moment, 100% of the sound is going through the saturator. Now none is, 0%, so find somewhere in the middle. I think that's good. Let's go get ourselves an equalizer now. I'll grab the EQ8, throw that on here, and we'll check. So it actually seems that our bass notes are hitting a little too high. They're like above the 100 Hertz line at the moment, so they're sort of in the mid bass range rather than sub. So let's go see about actually pitching all our notes down. So we'll come in here, we're on draw mode at the moment, so you can hit B to turn that off. So now we can select everything. We could just hit Command A. So an easy way to change the octave that all of your MIDI notes are in is you can just press Shift and then hit the down arrow, and now they're an octave lower. Let's check that out. Much better. Now we're hitting those subs. As you can see, there we go, we're all down in the proper bass frequencies. But now maybe we need a little more saturation let's change the wave shape a tiny bit. Okay, that's sounding good. You might have noticed that we're now actually clipping our master, so we're too loud. We're crossing 0 decibels, which means that we're starting to get distortion here on the master output, so we need to turn everything down. So I'm going to select all our channels and take them down a few decibels. So now we're not clipping anymore. All right. We're gonna now go back to our piano sound actually and tweak this a little bit more. It's a little too dry at the moment, so we're gonna add some reverb and delay. So let's go grab the hybrid reverb, which is a nice sounding reverb. Drag that on there. Oop, roll the way over there. There we go. All right, that's starting to sound a little cooler, but a little too much, so let's back off the dry wet. So quite like that. Then we're going to go and grab a delay. We'll just grab the basic delay. So a nice thing you can do to the offbeat piano skank sound is to put a little short delay, which will make the little dit sound, which is so common in dub and reggae and dubstep sounds. So let's listen to that. Alright, so at the moment it's much too much, so we'll turn the feedback way down. Which, changing the feedback, this basically makes the sound, the repeats end sooner. We might try instead of a 1/3 delay, let's try 1/2. And turn down the dry. Okay, so you see how we're getting that little tiny short echo. Turn it off. It's just straight, and turn it back on. You get that little echo, which is real nice. Okay, we're gonna now go to our drums, and we're gonna actually send them to the reverb using a send to our A and B. Might be the delay, not the echo on your version, but don't worry about that. But anyway, so we're gonna send our drums to the reverb because we want to equalize just the reverb and not the entire drum track, because we're gonna want to take out some of the bass on the reverb but not necessarily on our drums. So that's a useful thing that we can use a send for. So here where it says -infinity, these are our two sends, so we're going to turn up it on the drums. Okay, starting to hear a little bit of reverb. That's good. That's now, if we go click on down here are our two sends. If you don't see these, it's because here on the right where it says R, make sure that's enabled so that you can see your two tracks. So let's click on the reverb. Here's our reverb, and let's add an equalizer to it. Audio effects, EQ. Let's go grab the EQ8, put that there. So at the moment we're getting all this bass, so let's turn this to a high pass filter and filter that out, because we don't want to muddy up our mix, you know. Okay, reckon that's sounding pretty good. Alright, so next up we obviously need some wobble bass, right? So to do that, let us duplicate the sub bass that we've already made. So click on that channel, right click here and hit duplicate. So there we go, we have another version of all this. And on this one, see, we've already got this equalizer sitting here. Let's take out some of the sub out of it so that the sub will just be coming through the other track and not on this wobble track. So we'll put that and high pass down somewhere around 100. Okay, so let's solo this up and go and edit this MIDI. So we're going to just basically, it's going to be doing the same thing as the sub, but just with a different sound. So let's select with Command A, select all our MIDI, and we're going to go up an octave on this one. Okay, and then we're going to go in and design our sound. So the classic dubstep wobble bass is basically just a filter being modulated usually by an LFO. So what it would be like is this. So here, this is our filter. And that's what we're after, right? So to do that automatically, so I don't have to sit here and tweak it manually the whole time, we're going to set up an LFO to modulate the cutoff frequency of this low pass filter. So we go into the matrix here in Wavetable, and because we've clicked on this parameter, it now appears here. And then we go over to here to LFO1 and turn this up. And not doing anything cool, so let's back off this frequency. And that's starting to sound pretty good. So the amount of this parameter here, where it says 80, this is putting the amount that it's going to the right, because I've gone to in the right direction. If I go left, it would go left, but because the cutoff is already way at the left, you don't really see that. But so we can pick how much of this we want. So maybe we'll open the frequency a little bit more. Okay, I'm starting to like that. If we click on LFO there, we can now change the rate, which is going to be how fast the wobbles happen. I think something like that could work. Let's unsolo this. Okay, that's starting to sound pretty good. So maybe we want, let's try changing the resonance. A little bit of that. Maybe a little bit more drive. So let's turn up the dry wet, more wet. Because we want it kind of dirty, right? I think also some reverb might sound nice, so let's try that. Grab the hybrid reverb, I'm going to drag that after the EQ. Ooh, that sounds quite cool. Let's turn the decay down a little bit. Maybe let's make the size a little smaller. And then change the dry wet. Okay, sounding pretty good. Okay, so the final thing we would add to our little 4-bar loop would be some sort of melody lead sound. Sometimes I like little like kalimba sounds, kind of little, they're sort of sharp, you know. So let's go search for a kalimba. Which under mallets. Kind of like this one, how it's very short. So we'll drag that in here, drop that there, drag it up here. So one thing that you can do if you don't have a MIDI keyboard is you can use your computer keyboard, so long as this key is enabled up here, this button. You can use your computer keyboard. So we could try. Let's listen to the track and see if we can figure out a little thing. So a very cool feature that you might not know about Ableton is you could be playing away something and you've not hit the record button, but then if you go and press this button right here, boom, it brings in what you've just recorded. I didn't bring it in very well this time, but so it's only showing this last little bit of the loop, but here to the left is everything I was playing. So if we bring this over and then drag to the left, here is what I was playing beforehand. And this is just awesome because it usually is the case that you try playing a little melody or whatever on a keyboard and you find something you like and then you hit record and then now you can't do it again. So great feature that. So let's see. So it seems like it's all a little bit late, so let's drag it here. So now it's a bit more, maybe this it needs to be over there a little bit. I don't think this D is right, so I'll try moving him down. That's pretty cool. It's a little wonky. Maybe we could have finessed that a little bit more, but I think it works. So let's try adding a bit of delay and reverb to that sound. Audio effects. We'll go to the hybrid reverb again. Turn this whole sound down. Let's also try putting a delay on it. Turn the feedback down a bit and the dry wet. And then this filter here in the middle is changing the frequency of the echoes. So let's make it so it's just kind of the more lower frequencies. That's sounding pretty cool. Okay, so then let's go see about some sort of little percussion loop to throw in there too. So if we go into our samples, let's search perc. What we got here? Clock thing. Okay, I kind of like this. Well, let's see. Oh, that one's reversed. Kind of like this crawling perc. So we're going to drag that into a audio channel because that's audio. That's kind of creepy. Let's turn that that way down. It would be cool to automate like a filter on it, so the sound keeps changing even more than it is as we're going. So the way we could do that is we go back to audio effects and get ourselves the auto filter. Drag that on here, and then if we go into pitch and modulation folder, and we can go get the go into the modulation folder, we can go get the LFO. We'll drag that down here next to it. So basically, with this filter, we can change what frequencies of this clip of this sample are coming through, right? So if we solo it, right? So just like with our wobble modulation, that we have an LFO on our bass making the cutoff of that filter wobble, we can also make this cutoff change using the Ableton LFO tool, which is a super cool tool. Anyway, so we're going to click on our LFO and we're going to click map, and then we can click on any parameter that we want it to modulate. So we're going to click on the filter frequency. There it goes. So then here, where it says 0 and 100, 0 is the like the lowest amount, like lowest position of the parameter, and the 100 is the highest. So it's going. So now it's going from 50% from about the middle to all the way to the right, which could be about what we want, but we're going to want it way slower than that. At the moment, the rate is sort of manually done in hertz, but then you can also change it to musical time. So now it's doing a full back and forth every bar. So let's get even slower. So let's try maybe every 2 bars. Let's have a listen. Let's turn up the resonance. Just going to kind of exaggerate the sweep. Let's turn this up to 3. Okay, I kind of like that. Let's have a listen in context. Turn it down a little more. Alright, so there we go. There we have our little loop, and then the next step would be to create variations and then starting to create the whole layout. But before one should go there, it's good to do a bit of housekeeping. So let's name all our channels. So if we go and click on the drums and we hit Command R, we can rename it. So we're going to call that drums. And then if you hit tab, we'll get to the next one. This is our offbeat piano. This is our sub bass. This is our wobble bass. This is the kalimba. And this is our perk. And we would maybe pull this up next to the drums. And yeah, there you have it.